Now, Sports Talk with Broads. Here's Hunter Brody.
What is going on, everyone? Welcome to Sports Talk with Broads. We are broadcasting live from the Manscaped Man Cave. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code BROD at manscaped.com. Wow. I still cannot get over what we all witnessed last night between the Eagles and the Giants. That was a joke of a football game, without a doubt. But the Eagles found a way, and I do value them finding a way, even though it was hideous, and that game just described what the NFC East is all about this year. I think it's important to have football while it's a fake optimism, right? Because let's be realistic, the playoffs, what are they really going to do in the playoffs? Nothing. The answer is nothing, but the season needs to matter. The season needs to be relevant. This game on Sunday at 2-4-1 means more than if they were 1-5-1 and lost to the Giants. There's just no doubt about it. If you're one of those people who don't want to see the Eagles win the division because you'd rather get a draft pick, that's nonsense to me. This is not the NBA. This is the NFL. If you go through the Eagles' draft picks, not really the draft picks, but where they selected over the last handful of seasons while making the playoffs, there is plenty of talent available at plenty of the positions that they need help at. So this whole, you need a bunch of draft picks, this isn't the NBA. There's plenty of teams throughout this league that has had top draft picks over and over and over again, and guess what? They're still in terrible spots. The Giants. The Washington football team. The highest draft pick doesn't necessarily mean you're just going to turn your franchise around. That's just because there's so much involved, from ownership to GM to head coach to D coordinator to quarterback to offensive line to the structure of everything involved with the franchise. It's so much more than just, hey, you're picking 5th instead of picking 16th. Let's throw out this hypothetical. The Eagles need a linebacker, right? Well, if they lose and they don't win the division, where are you going to pick? Let's say they pick extremely high because they sucked that bad throughout the regular season. Let's say they pick 5 or 6. What linebacker are you getting at 5 or 6 that you can't figure out at, let's say, 16, 17, 18? You get my point? And one linebacker isn't changing your franchise, even though you have a hole at the linebacker position. Go back and look at who is available. Whether they hit the right guy or not, that's a different conversation. You can get on the drafting and saying, well, you missed the right guy, but the guy that you can possibly get is there, even if you make the playoffs or not. So winning the division is still in sight, even though it feels weird, it feels odd. It's a bad division. It's a very poor division. I want to be the best in the shittiest division possible. Shame on me, but that's how I feel, because I need Carson Wentz to go play in a playoff game. I need Carson Wentz to battle, show heart, and lead this team just like he did against the Giants. And I get it, the Giants aren't a good team as a whole. Defensively, though, they are a respectful defense. They're not elite, they're not great, but they're a respectful defense, and Carson Wentz late, he executed. Now, Doug Pederson did not put him in a good spot whatsoever. If you ask me, Broach, what pissed you off more? Carson Wentz's worst or Doug Pederson's worst against the Giants? It's Doug Pederson. I don't get how this guy is a bad thinker on his feet. You gotta be your best version of yourself on Sundays, in this case Thursdays, on game days, on the sidelines. That's when you need to be thinking with your brain. He doesn't think with his brain. From missing that play where he could have challenged to the whatever the hell you want to call that 4th down play to Butler. You know, the more and more I think about that play, I feel as if Doug Pederson honestly wanted to make it look like Butler was in the wrong spot and putting him in an area to try and confuse the Giants. I feel that was scripted and that was the way they wanted it to go down. Well, guess what? Very poor thought process on a big-time fourth down where your team needed to score a touchdown. So whether it was not getting the challenge flag out in time, which you got to realize, you need to realize that spot. And I know that there's a lot involved when it comes to a challenge. You have people in his ear, people looking at the replay, people telling him what to do. But you got to think on your toes. These 3rd and 1 calls, the red zone calls. I mean, it's embarrassing. Doug Pederson's worst was way more frustrating than Carson Wentz's worst, even though I feel Carson Wentz playing so poorly for majority of the game was one of the reasons why he had to come up clutch. The reason why they were in the position was a mixture between Doug Pederson and Carson Wentz, but I got to tip my cap to Carson Wentz because in back-to-back drives, boom, he delivered. That play to Hightower, that's not getting enough love. That play to Richard Rodgers, that's not getting enough love. There's plenty of other throws by the sidelines that were very important for this team to get back on track that isn't getting as much love as what the Boston Scott throw did. Well, and that's because the Boston Scott throw, the throw from Carson to Boston Scott, was so damn elite, so phenomenal. It's hard not to discuss it, but there were so many plays throughout that was tremendous out of Carson Wentz, and I feel that's just what you're going to get out of him. That's the type of quarterback Carson Wentz is. Go play. Go play, and whatever happens, happens. So you're going to get ugliness. You're going to get throws where it looks like he's playing backyard football, and he's throwing across the field, and he's throwing interceptions. But you're also going to get the elite version of Carson Wentz. And I do know, though, that is going to be frustrating at times. It's going to be irritating. It's going to be annoying. But this is now 3 games in a row where he keeps you involved. Carson Wentz keeps you involved in games. When you're down, he'll bring you back. When you think you're out, nope, you're not out. They were down 21-10. And I know the Giants are bad. And I know Ingram missed a wide open play. If he catches that football, boom, game over. I get it. I saw it. But that has went against the Eagles in previous years. So it's just how the football gods work. There's going to be times where you get screwed over. There's going to be times when you get the advantage based off of a poor call. Where there's going to be times where your guy misses a wide open throw, and then there's going to be times when another team misses a wide open throw, and that could be the difference in the game. And that's exactly what ended up happening in this one. So I'm going to take your phone calls. The 24/7 anytime hotline was buzzing. The phone number is 856-442-9805. You can call in at any point throughout the day. Leave a message. I can't wait. Look at all these calls. This is going to be fun. All right, let's kick it off. Hello? Hello?
All right, well, that was a game in which we certainly should not have won. But the North Dakota assassin, Carson Wentz, brought us back. He did not quit. He put the team on his back and once again brought us back to victory. A critical W going into a big divisional game against Dallas. Although he played like playing parts of the game, and the play calling was horrendous. But I have to say is that anyone who hates Carson Wentz can go themselves. All I'm going to say, I'm about to go smoke a big victory bowl, and let's take care of our business against Dallas next week.
I don't even know where to begin. That was phenomenal. That might be the best call that we have had so far on the Anytime Hotline. First off, I'm not sure he didn't smoke a bowl before that call even happened because he was all over the place. He's going with Carson Wentz, the North Dakota assassin. It does seem like I feel better about Carson Wentz this day than I did after the game. After the game, I was in that mode of, that was disgraceful. I'm more upset with the team than I am happy of the win. As the one day passed and it's now the next day after I had some coffee, I rewatched the game. We talked to some people on 97.3 ESPN today. We had Sal Pal on at 2:30, which was awesome. We had Jeff Mosher of Inside the Birds podcast. You know, the more and more I just accept what happened, what Carson Wentz did late, it deserved more credit than what I gave him post-game and how I felt. I was just in all these mixed emotions, and I was upset about what I saw. Now, that's not to throw away the poor play by Carson, because there was a lot of poor play by Carson. But I guess now I am realizing, because a lot of people ask, who is Carson Wentz? It's year 5. Who is he? And this is who he is. He's an inconsistent, extreme quarterback. But the problem is, if you want someone who's going to be perfect, here's your problem. His extreme on the high side is elite. Top tier elite. His extreme on the low is a Mark Sanchez. So how do you start pushing away the Mark Sanchez to get more of the elite? And I thought something was interesting that I heard today about DiFilippo. And I'm not one of those Frank Reich DiFilippo were the reasons why the Eagles won the Super Bowl people, but it is documented how hard DiFilippo was on Carson Wentz. And now it almost seems like it's, you can do whatever you want because this is who you are. While with DiFilippo, it might have been more structured. Like, hell no, you can't do that. You can't throw across your body and throw it to Fulgham. Instead, now it's, hey, Carson, great win. We support you. Let's go to the next one. So I'm not saying it's 100% acceptable for Carson Wentz to play this way, but this is the style of the quarterback you're going to get. It's just about limiting the Mark Sanchez plays and getting more out of the elite. And a lot plays a role into that. Doug Pederson is not helping his quarterback whatsoever with these play calls and with these schemes, with these plays. Injuries, offensive line, like there's a lot. But in terms of who is Carson Wentz, it's a version of this. It's just maybe not to this level when it comes to the ugliness, or maybe it is. That's where we're kind of in a gray area with Carson.
That was a crazy game. I thought Doug Pederson wasn't that great, and I'm still mad at Jake Elliott, but Carson Wentz came through at the end and delivered a crazy performance. That would have been demoralizing if we lost that game. But we came through and won. I'm super proud of Carson.
Super proud of Carson. Super proud of Carson. It does seem like that is where the conversation is going today. How he bounced back, how he went from playing bad football to, hold on, fellas, let me put you on my back. And to be fair, I just questioned, maybe this is who he is, the poor play out of Carson. Maybe that is who he is. Regardless, the elite side of him is way too high of a ceiling for me to ever give up on him, because if he ever can figure it out, if he ever can find more structure, well, then guess what? You're talking about a disgusting quarterback in this league who can be filthy and make plenty of plays. Now, I mentioned the scheme with Doug Pederson. How come the first couple of plays and the first drive is the only one that can be scripted? You saw how much it works. You see how beneficial it is to your team. How come you can't do more than just a first drive or 15 plays? Why can't it be 30? Why can't it be 35? Because guess what? The alternative, that's not working. Only having 15 or so in one drive. After that drive's over, it's flat out bad. So shame on you, Doug Pederson. I see that it's in there because you're coming up with it. Why does it go away? Why does it vanish? And now you lose Deshaun Jackson, who's a big part of this offense. You can question. Now, I'm not as upset with it as other people, but based off of the snap count, based off of just coming back from the injury, you could question if Deshaun Jackson should have been put out there for the punt return. He is a punt return playmaking guy. To be fair, that was a long time ago, though. But in that moment, you needed a spark, you needed some juice, you needed a miracle. Maybe the reason why he was out there was because it was against the Giants specifically. I don't know. But you could question why he was out there if that was the best idea. It costed them, obviously. Now, this isn't Deshaun Jackson being injury prone. This one isn't a soft tissue injury. It's a cheap shot. There's a difference.
Definitely had my heart racing at the end, but Evan Engram just bailed out our entire organization. If he caught that ball, I think we surely would have lost the game, and that would have just been such a blow to our season and just to like everything as it relates to our team. And Wentz, man, he showed he was clutch as hell. But I know he's our guy for sure at this point. The haters can just, go away now, please. But he's got to be more consistent throughout the game. Hats off to Greg Ward, Richard Rodgers, Boston Scott, Fulgham, practice squad guys. Just hell yeah, man. They get it done.
Are they still practice squad guys, though? That's the thing, because Fulgham's not. Is Greg Ward an actual slot receiver? I'm not saying that this is a formula to win championships in this league, but I do raise the question, are they still practice squad guys? Where I think you can have that conversation and it's valid is the offensive line, Opeta. When you get to this part of the line, I know we gave them credit because they were serviceable to a point. Now, as you're losing more people, guess what? It's starting to get to how the Dallas Cowboys looked, where Brown's getting abused and getting cut instantly, although he was brought back, and Opeta can't play. Now it's not even serviceable anymore. You're at the point where it's trash. But there are some guys who were once practice squad people and no longer are. Once again, is that a recipe for success to go win championships? No, it doesn't seem that way, but there is something there in these players. And maybe you can credit Carson Wentz for that being the case. Maybe they look better than what they actually are because Carson Wentz is balling out and giving them their opportunity. I think that's fair to throw into the equation. But you talked about the Carson Wentz haters going away. That ain't ever happening. There's just no way that that's ever happening right now because as much as we want to praise him for the greatness, there was just as much ugliness involved to support their logic as well. And once again, that's where the big gray area lies. And I am a Carson Wentz supporter. I think that his greatness is too good to pass up on. I guess it's fair to say it's like Ben Simmons. To me, I'm not giving up on Ben Simmons because his ceiling is just way too damn high. Whether he gets to that ceiling fully or not, I'll live and die by seeing if that happens. With Carson, it's the same thing. But this guy, he continues to help this team late clutch down the stretch. And a lot of people claim that it's all about those late quarter drives, those 2-minute drives, those last handful of series. What can a quarterback do in those moments? He did pretty well against the Pittsburgh Steelers. He did pretty well against the Ravens. He did pretty well against the Giants in that area. The thing is, they won 1 of 3 of the games I just laid out. But that's where I think people focus too much on just quarterbacks when there's a 53-man roster for a reason and a head coach and yada, yada, yada. You know the story. It takes a lot more than just a quarterback to win.
Terrible game last night, even though we won. I don't see what this accomplishes because, honestly, I'd rather us tank, get worse in the division, and then we have a high draft pick. Because I don't know about you, but I want us to get the best linebacker in the draft. Either it's Micah Parsons from Penn State or any other linebacker in the country. I don't know at this point. But this win means, to me, it means absolutely nothing. I know that you is probably going to be aligned to all the other Eagles fans because we're going to be first in the division, woohoo! But first in the division means first round exit in the playoffs, which I'm not really looking forward to.
No. That doesn't make sense to me at all. Carson Wentz is 28 years old and hasn't played in a playoff game yet. Jordan Mailata is freshly new at the left tackle position. There's plenty of guys, Fulgham, Greg Ward, these guys, they need to play in the playoffs. Like, I don't understand. So where you want a linebacker, right? If they lose and they tank, where are they getting this linebacker at? Like I said, if you pick 5th overall, like you're not a linebacker there. What can you get at, let's say, 16 with making the playoffs? I don't care if they win or they lose, like, in the playoffs. That's what I know. Oh, they're going to lose anyway. That's what I know people are trying to attack. It's not about that. It's about gaining the experience with these guys, and whatever draft pick you're going to get, is it going to make or break your team? Like, I don't know how you just don't value making the playoffs at all. That's a joke. See, that's an irrational take, in my opinion. It's just irrational. It's not the NBA. NBA, different story. Here, not so much. NFL, not so much. Now, I want to touch on, I mentioned Mailata maybe getting some experience. hopefully Jason Peters is back in the mix soon, and Doug Pederson pretty much said it's going to be an in-house decision in terms of if he's going to play left tackle or right guard. I mean, it's pretty damn simple. No, he plays right guard, and Mailata, even though he struggled, deserves the opportunity to continue to ride at left tackle. Now he deserves to ride, in my opinion. No? I think it's pretty clear.
Offensive line is atrocious, man. I mean, holy cow. I know you want to make it to the playoffs, man. Even if we make it, is Carson going to make it? I mean, poor guy. I mean, most pressures in the NFL, most hits he's taken in the NFL as a quarterback. I don't know if he's going to make it. How can we judge Wentz fairly? I mean, yeah, he does leave the ball out sometimes. He's throwing these high fastballs, but at the same time, though, this man is dropping back and guys are coming freely through. Or the protection holds up a little bit, then all of a sudden a guy's getting pushed back into Wentz's lap. It's fair for us to judge Wentz and Pederson.
It's a fair point to bring up that he is under pressure so much and this offensive line is not giving him the time of day and he's getting hit. Now, sometimes it's because he's holding onto the ball too long, and he does do that. But once again, it's kind of like a blessing and a curse. All these plays where Carson Wentz ducks underneath and he throws this 60-yard bomb and someone catches it and it's a touchdown and you love that moment. Well, that's because he held onto the ball and he made that extra play. Yet when he takes a sack, you rip him apart and you criticize him. Like, there's a blessing and a curse in his skill set. Now, he does need to dial it back a bit, and I just wonder if it's based on being at North Dakota State, playing hero ball, being way better than everybody else, dominating that type of college football where he could always do that. Well, now it's a different type of beast, and this might be who you get. It just depends on if he can consistently come up clutch and be able to execute to help your team win games. But there are times where the reason why they're in that position is because of Carson. So there has to be a reasonable angle to look at when it comes to Carson Wentz's play. Now, this episode of Sports Talk with Broads is sponsored by Orbit Energy and Power, and with over 20 years of experience in the industry, they are home to your solar experts in both residential and commercial projects. With the solar energy system, you can even increase the value of your home by an average of 4.1%. They also provide water purification systems, backup energy services, battery storage, and more. Before we get to our next phone call, their information is down below in the description, but I also want to throw out there that I have added memberships to Sports Talk with Broads. So if you would like to support Sports Talk with Broads, there are different tiers on my YouTube page underneath the videos as well. There's a join button. You can click that. You can see the options. And it's just another way, another avenue for you to be able to reach out and support this channel. People have kind of messaged me a bit, slid into the DM, sent me some emails, and said, Broads, I would like to help out. What can I do? Didn't really have an option, so I just put it out there. No reason to feel obligated. Doesn't have to happen. It's just an avenue for the people that have reached out, or if you want to go down that road. All right, cool. Let's pop in the next question here.
This is Kyler from Illinois again. And wow, if there was ever a definition of a roller coaster game, this was it. Unreal game. But my biggest takeaway is so many questionable coaching play calls from Doug. I mean, a lot of it was on the 2-point plays. I mean, you know, we had the QB draws like Carson's Lamar Jackson, and very weird, but nonetheless, I'm riding and dying with Carson Wentz. And just a great, I mean, ugly win, but a great win.
I'm riding and dying with Carson Wentz as well. I do feel, though, with this fan base, it's either he blows or he's the greatest in the world, and I feel you got to meet somewhere in the middle. And he's inconsistent, and he's erratic. Is he going to be erratic forever, though? Or is there going to be a time where he learns from throwing across his body to Fulgham and that interception play, right? I mean, it is pretty damn wild. I had something written down today that we discussed on the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN, and I kind of wanted to bring it up, but I feel like I can't remember where I wrote it down. I'm a big note guy. I like to write a lot of stuff down during the games. You should see my notebooks during the games. I just get your standard notebooks, right? Like your standard notebooks. I have 10 billion of these bad boys just crushed, written stuff in, crossing out, ripping pages out. It's unbelievable what I write down during a game. I can't find it, and it's going to bother me, but it is what it is, I guess. All right, let's take the next call. I love these. I love the Anytime Hotline. It's one of the best times of the week for me. To be able to react to what you guys think about the game, come on, it's beautiful.
This game came down to two plays. The drop by Evan Ingram on third down, which would have sealed the game for the Giants, followed by the subsequent cheap shot on Deshaun Jackson. Basically, the New York Giants doing New York Giants type things. The road to ineptitude started last night. The drive for 5 to get the 5 division wins that the Eagles would need. Those 5 wins probably will win you the NFC East. And at the end of the day, isn't that realistically all that we're playing for at this point?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, that's what we're playing for, but I think it's valuable that your franchise quarterback plays in a playoff game. Now, is the atmosphere going to be the same? Probably not by then. No, I don't think there's going to be a packed barn, but the pressure will be there, the media pressure, understanding the intensity as well of what playoff football is like, because those players on the other side are going to play like it's a playoff game, just like your team is. And I don't feel like this is going to happen, but I'm just going to mention it. By then, if you have Rager, if you have Ertz, if you have Goddard, if you have some of these guys back in the mix, Lane Johnson right now, I don't know his current status, but if he's going to be better, although his ankle is probably going to kill him for the whole year, and now you have the whole other leg situation happening with him. If somehow, some way you get healthy, once again, I don't think that this is going to happen, but I've seen it happen. There was a Carolina Panthers team that everyone thought was a legit joke. They won a playoff game because it's a home playoff game. I think that was 2014. You had the Seattle Seahawks as well with that 7-9 record. We've seen it happen. Now, the road ends eventually. This is a Super Bowl winning team. But if you can get this city on a ride and host a playoff game, I don't see how that is a bad thing at all, whether that's a 6-win team or not. How you don't see how that can be good. It's not like the front office convinces themselves that, we don't need to make any changes. Come on, they're not stupid. Whether you think they are or not, to that level, they're not.
What the hell did I just watch? I know I'm not the only one that had at least 3 panic attacks watching this game, bro. This game was ugly. It was just ugly, bro. And I thought it would be ugly, but I didn't think it would be this ugly. But listen, we won. I'm happy with a W no matter what. But what the hell? Play calling, decision making is still at an all-time high and just terrible.
Division, I assume that was. Yeah, Doug Pederson. Look, I was looking for notes, and somehow I'm sitting on a Rays-Dodgers Game 2 notes that I got 3 pages of notes on the Dodgers-Rays World Series game. Come on, bro, let's get your stuff together here. Yeah, Doug Pederson should be under fire for this game and for a lot of decisions that he has made to this point. The Jalen Hurts package is a big-time issue. It's a big-time issue. You got to do better with an athlete like Jalen Hurts. The red zone stuff, how do you go from one of the most iconic plays in Super Bowl history to that dumpster fire of a system to the point where you are acknowledging that you're running out of plays in the red zone? What type of coach says that? It's bad. It's bad. The fade to Butler, Wentz up the middle, trying to run through the tackles. I mentioned this before. When you are a coach, you target other teams' weaknesses. Teams do it to the Eagles every single week. Somehow, some way, in these crucial moments, Doug Pederson's trying to run up the middle and target their interior linemen who do a great damn job, who are the best parts of their defense. Tell me the logic there. And I told you before as well on the post-game pod. It was early in the game, 4th and 1 on their own side of the 50. Here's Doug Pederson looking at his play sheet. Someone had to have talked to him in his damn earpiece and said, Doug, what are you doing? You can't do that. That is stupid. And then he's like, oh, yeah, that's stupid. That's stupid. Yeah. Get the guys off. because there's no way he came to his senses on his own. I am not allowing for that to be reality because that's not who Doug Pederson has been to this point. Crazy. I barely even got to the defense. A lot of the calls is about Carson and Doug, which I think is reasonable based off of those are the two takeaways from this game, but it's hard to get a read on this defense. They didn't allow a ton of points, although you can argue that at the end of the game, you're getting a bunch of runs for first down, and you're giving up that play to Ingram, even though they did not cash in. Beautiful throw by Daniel Jones, but that 80-yard run by Daniel Jones and that 97-yard touchdown drive, inconsistent. Doug Pederson was inconsistent. The first drive, beautiful. It's in you, Doug. But the thinking on his toes is where he struggles, which is a problem. But then hear me out. Script the damn game. Script more of the game. Script more of the game. Because when you script it, it's solid. You can't deny that. Right? Come on. Carson Wentz, inconsistent. The defense, inconsistent. Special teams. Come on now. Jake Elliott. Thought linebackers actually didn't do too bad of a job. Isn't that wild? Nate Gary had a sack. How about what Singleton did to Freeman? Pancaked his ass. Love it. Give me more of that, Singleton. He's earned himself a spot. He's playing his ass off. There's a couple guys, it's like, look what you can do when you get an opportunity, you know? It's pretty wild to see these guys leave it all out there on the field and earn themselves some jobs. Greg Ward. And that's what it shows when you think about it this way. J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, who actually caught a pass in this game. Second-round pick, so he gets more snaps than other people. Well, there's guys buried in these practice squads who can play. Got to give him a shot over some of these players who can't play, even though they're drafted players. And you want to rip the Eagles for all their misses? By all means, I think that is something you can do. But at the same token, let's go. Give them some props for finding a Fulgham. Guy's been cut all around the league. Richard Rodgers, been cut. Here he comes back. And he's making big-time plays. Big-time plays. Guy had 85 yards on 6 receptions. What? If I told you before the game that Richard Rodgers, your tight end 1, would lead your squad in yards? Come on. And you know what Fulgham does to this point. Guy's just a machine. It's crazy. So, look, plenty more anytime hotline calls to get into. We got a decent amount of time until the next game. But over the weekend here, we will have more podcasts reacting to what we saw on Thursday night. I'll put up a podcast in the very near future reacting to the rest of the phone calls. Always a great time. As I stated, one of the best times of the week for me because I love interacting with you. So be on the lookout for a podcast, another podcast on top of this one this weekend when it comes to, reacting to what you saw on Thursday because I can wake up every single damn day and talk more about this team because they're very conversational on every side of the ball with the coaching staff, with the ownership, with the GM, you name it. This team can be talked about 24/7, and that's why I'm here. So thank you all so much for listening, and I will see you next time.